The story of Achilles, the Trojan War hero. Achilles, the son of Peleus and Thetis, was the greatest of all Greek heroes who took part in the Trojan War. Knowing that our child was destined to either die the death of a glorious warrior or live a long life in obscurity, Thetis bathed Achilles as an infant in the waters of the River Styx, thus making him all but immortal. Only the heel by which she held him remained vulnerable. However, as prophesized, this proved costly because Achilles eventually died from an arrow wound in that heel. Guided by Apollo, the fateful arrow was shot by Paris, the brother of Troy's most celebrated hero, Hector, whom Achilles has previously killed in a face-to-face duel in an attempt to avenge the death of his closest friend, Patroclus. Achilles' very birth is interlinked with two most important prophecies, one about his mother and another about him. Made all but invulnerable by his mother, Achilles would spend his childhood under the mentorship of the centaur Chiron. Achilles was the son of Peleus, king of Thessalian Phthia, and Thetis, a sea goddess. Even though he grew up to become the greatest of all Greek heroes, he might have even supplanted Zeus as the ruler of the entire universe if it hadn't been for either Themis or Prometheus' timely intervention. A year before Achilles' birth, both Zeus and Poseidon fell in love with his eventual mother and did their best to win her hand in marriage. And only Themis and Prometheus knew it was vital for Olympian order that neither of the two married Thetis, for it had been written that the sea goddess should bear a princely son, stronger than his father, who would wield another weapon in his hand more powerful than the thunderbolt or the irresistible trident. Themis counseled the Olympians ominously so that she can see her son die in the battle. A son who is like Ares in the strength of his hands and like lightning in the swift prime of his feet. The Achilles heel. Being a goddess, Thetis wasn't all that happy to be cruelly destined to one day see her son being taken away from her by merciless death. So she did her best to prevent such a thing from happening. Some say the sea goddess tried making Achilles immortal through a lengthy purifying ritual which consisted of anointing him with ambrosia every night and slowly burning away his immortality by the fireside, body part by body part. However, right near the end of the ritual, Peleus caught her in the act of putting Achilles in the fire and understandably was too shocked to believe any of Thetis' excuses. The nymph felt so dishonored that she left both her husband and her son and went back to live with her sister Nereid. Others, however, claim that soon after Achilles was born, Thetis went to the underworld and dipped him in the waters of the River Styx. Thus, she managed to make his whole body invulnerable but for the part which she held him, his left heel, hence the expression Achilles heel, meaning a seemingly small but actually crucial weakness. In the absence of his mother, Achilles spent most of his childhood on Mount Pelion, where he was reared and trained by the wise centaur Chiron in numerous disciplines, ranging from hunting to music. And by the time he returned to his father's home, it was already evident to many that the boy was destined for greatness. Back in Phthia, Achilles befriended Phoenix and Patroclus. Both would have an enormous influence on the young Achilles. The Trojan War. Achilles' anger with Agamemnon is the main theme of Homer's Iliad, which recounts the last year of the Trojan War, during which Achilles first withdraws from battle and then enraged by the death of his beloved comrade Patroclus. Realizing that Trojan War was fast approaching and fully aware that her son was still destined to die in battle, Thetis resorted to an unusual tactic to keep Achilles safe. She disguised him as a girl and hid him at the court of King Lycomedes in Scyros. The plan worked well for a while, but then Odysseus learned from the prophet Calchas that the Greek would lose the war without the help of Achilles. He learned his whereabouts and tricked him into uncovering his identity by either disguising himself as a peddler selling jewelry and women's clothes or feigning an attack on Scyros. In the first case, Odysseus included a spear among his gods, and only one girl by the name of Pyrrha showed some interest in it. In the latter, everyone but this Pyrrha fled the scene. Even though he was the only one not to have taken a vow to fight for Menelaus' honor, once Odysseus had discovered him, Achilles decided to join the Greek army, commanding a fleet of 50 ships, each one carrying 50 of his men. Soon after its departure, the Greek fleet lost its way and landed in Mysia by mistake. Mysia was then ruled by Heracles' son, Telephus. But during the battle, Telephus was wounded by Achilles. After finding out that Agamemnon had used him deliberately in such a cruel ruse, Achilles tried to save the life of the poor girl, but barely managed to keep his head on his shoulders. Everybody supported Agamemnon's attempt to appease Artemis. Eventually, Iphigenia agreed to be sacrificed, and the Greeks set sail once again. Near Troy, Achilles' fleet landed on the island of Tenedos, and in the fight which ensued, contrary to his mother's advice, Achilles killed Tenedos' king, Thetis. This enraged Thetis' father, who happened to be none other than Apollo. The Olympian never forgot Achilles' offense and eventually got his revenge. Achilles in the Iliad. The conflict mirroring the one at Aulis kick-started the 10th year of Greeks' campaign against Troy. Agamemnon, the leader of the Achaeans, is forced to give up his concubine Chryseis to appease Apollo and put an end to a plague sent by the god among the Greeks. In return for this, Agamemnon demands another hero's war prize, Achilles' concubine Briseis. Furious to be dishonored in such a way, Achilles withdraws from battle, even asking his mother Thetis to convince Zeus to help the Trojans, so that Agamemnon and the Greeks recognize promptly the severity of the loss of their greatest warrior. Zeus nodded in agreement, and pretty soon the Trojans managed to successfully drive the Greeks towards their ships. Agamemnon realizes his mistakes and sends Odysseus, Ajas, and Phineus to Achilles' tent with an apology and a promise of many fine gifts. Educated by his mother that he is destined to either die at Troy as a glorious warrior or live a long life in obscurity at home, he informs Agamemnon's embassy that he has now chosen the latter. Fearing ultimate defeat, Patroclus asks Achilles for his armor, and disguised as his treasured friend, he leads a successful attack against the Trojans. However, taken by the moment, he goes a step too far and is subsequently killed by the fearless Trojan prince, Hector. Enraged by his friend's death, Achilles rejoined the battle and adorned with new armor made by Hephaestus. He tracked down Hector and killed him in a face-to-face duel. Still burning with anger, Achilles drags Hector's lifeless body with his chariot for 11 days straight, until the gods intervene and help Priam, Hector's father, to reach Achilles' tent and beg for the body of his son. The death of Achilles. Although predicted by Hector with his dying breath, the death of Achilles is not narrated in the Iliad. However, as predicted, it does occur relatively soon after Hector's death. Paris, Hector's cowardly brother, manages to kill the greatest of the great heroes with an arrow hitting Achilles' heel, the only vulnerable part of his body. Poisoned or not, the arrow was most certainly guided by Apollo, since Paris was no archer of renown. Thus, Achilles paid dearly for disobeying his mother's wishes and killing Thetis. The ghost of Achilles. One of the shades that Odysseus encounters after descending in the underworld in Homer's Odyssey is the one of Achilles, apparently some kind of a minor ruler of the dead souls in its region. Upon realizing this, Odysseus admires Achilles for being blessed in death as much as he had been in life. "If I could choose," replies Achilles memorably to this, "I would rather be a paid servant in the poor man's house and be above ground than king of kings among the dead." Have you heard of the story of Achilles and the Achilles heel? Kindly drop your thought in comment section. Please like, share and subscribe to this channel. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.